You've already run into other ablative uses, and now it's time to introduce the ablative of personal agent. So some of the other ablative uses you've found are the ablative of means or instrument. And this is the tool by which something happens. This is the ablative all by itself. The ablative of manner. This describes how something is done. Remember, this takes cum, like cum diligentia, with diligence, that is diligently. And now the ablative of personal agent is used almost exclusively with passive voice verbs. This is going to tell you who's doing the action of the passive voice verb. So in the sentence, Marcus was seen by the girl here, and this phrase, by the girl, this is the agent. And so the whole phrase would be the ablative of agent, ablative of personal agent. So it's used with passive voice verb, like was seen. And in Latin, we're going to use a or ab, the prepositions a or ab, with the ablative. And you can translate them, so the a or ab as by, and the ablative is the x. So here, by the girl, a puella. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. These are all modified from Latin and intensive course. So we get nautai ab inculis in viam acti sunt. So there's our passive voice verb, acti sunt. Our subject nautai, so the sailors have been driven. And then we get this, because we have a passive voice verb, we want to look for an ablative of personal agent, ab inculis, by the inhabitants. So the sailors have been driven by the inhabitants into the road. Another example here, literae a regina missae sunt. So our subject, literae, missae sunt. Nice passive, perfect passive voice. The letters have been sent. And once you have that passive voice, you say, okay, well, by whom? And we get an ablative of personal agent, a regina, by the queen. So the letters have been sent by the queen. Another one here, urna in mensa a feminis ponetur. Urna, our subject, our verb, passive voice, ponetur, will be placed. So the jar will be placed on the table, and then you have a passive voice, so you think, okay, well, where's my personal agent? A feminis, by the women. So the jar will be placed on the table by the women. And finally, our last example, no subject, ab amicis traditus est, no subject, but because we have a passive voice verb, a perfect passive, we know it's masculine, singular. He was betrayed, traditus est. By whom was he betrayed? Ab amicis, by his friends. So each of these bracketed phrases is our ablative of personal agent, telling us who did the action of a passive voice verb.